Today I'm going to show you how I make a baby spoon out of silver. I start with a 1/2 ounce, so I poured a 1/2 ounce into a little square, and that's probably going to be fine, but I need to turn this into a nice little rectangle ingot, something like that. I'm going to start with this because I know this is exactly a 1/2 ounce, and that's exactly as much as I want to use. This is a baby spoon I made a while ago. I just keep it around, fun trinket. I may eventually sell it, but I usually just make my own every time I get an order. First things first, we're gonna make another rectangle. We'll go from there. So that's gonna include lots of hammering, and it's gonna be loud, and I'll bring you back after I get a little further. Alright, well, this is my first go. It took about 20 seconds worth of hammering, and you can kind of see it flattens out pretty good. So now what we do is we anneal this, right? Gone and done a little bit more hammering. You can kind of tell it's a little bit more rectangular, and I'm gonna need to smooth out these craters, and I'll do that with the torch. I'll melt the surface so those craters go away. They melt into each other and use the surface tension of the metal itself to attract itself. It's pretty impressive how that works. And then we'll go with some more hammering. I just melted all the craters out of that side, and this side. Good and melted now. Here it is. It's a little bit different. It's pretty much the same, apart from some of the caverns have been filled in by their neighboring mountains in a melty sort of way. It's pretty rad. Gotta keep going. No time to stop. Did a little bit more hammering, and now we got, it's a little bit the same. It's a good start. One more time, I did another anneal. You can kind of see the surface is really melty again, but it looks good. You can see all the craters are gone. That's important. You can see it's roughly maintained its shape. You can see that some of the hard edges have been melted down. So now I basically just get to hammer it into a spoon, which the first part of a spoon is more like a lacrosse stick. So the next step, I'm hammering just the center to get it thinned out, and I'll eventually draw out the center to be the center is going to be like the neck here of the spoon. So the neck of the spoon is going to be the center of the ingot, and then half the spoon is going to be the bowl, and the other half of the spoon is going to be the handle. That's the way we portion this out. So you get a nice little balance here, basically right behind the neck. Again, this is a lot of hammering. I'm using a ball peen hammer in the center, kind of just avoiding the edges, the ends here. Just hitting in the middle, twist, hit in the middle, twist, hit in the middle, you know? So we've gotten to this point where we've got the bow tie kind of effect where the center is a little bit taken in. And I have to do this to make sure that the center and the left and the right have enough meat together separately. Does that make sense? Great. I'll bring you in to show you what I'm doing on the anvil. So you can kind of see I have this bar of brass, and I've been hitting it on the bar of raised brass. Just kind of take it in. I'm actually using a bit of this scaling hammer. It has like a kind of a pointed, so I've been hitting it like that. I'm using magnets to hold down the piece of brass onto the anvil just so it doesn't move around. I'm just going to keep hammering it. Alright, so now what I'm doing, taking one side and I'm going to draw it out on the mill. It's going to be this side. I'm trying to lengthen out, taking the spoon handle out a little bit. We're getting there. I'm now questioning whether or not I needed to bang out the center previously, because now it seems kind of silly, but that's okay. I think I learned something. You can see I have these ridges here. It's because I accidentally did the roller a little bit. Too much on one side, not enough on the other. So I'm going to work those out. And I'm going to keep making the handle. I'm going to try to neck down the center a little bit more with the hammer. I'm going to be working on the side of the anvil here. I'm attaching a magnet to my hammer just to make it shut up a little bit. And I'm just going to neck it down a little bit. I'm also going to work on the face of the spoon here. I'm going to draw it out a little bit. I'm also just flattening out the face of the spoon. I'll just square up the handle as well. I'll show you what I got. That's where we're at. You can see the spoon is getting a little bit thinner. I did a little necking down there. Don't mind the marks, they'll get worked out later. I'm going to use the ball peen side of my ball peen hammer. I was trying to get that bowl. You can see the bowl kind of taking form now, with those little indentations. But it looks more like a spoon now. Huh? Doing a little bit more of the same, just more bowl work here. It's starting to take shape. Here we are with a little bit more hammering. Obviously you can see that the shaft is getting... I'm prioritizing the top here. I've been using the ball peen so you can see the texturing. It also just moves more metal than the flat. The ball in the bowl as well, so that's turning out nicely. And then the last thing would be to just keep thinning out this and give it a nice curvature and make it a little wider at the bottom here. And then I'll take a file to the bowl and clean it up so it's nice and smooth. There we go, pretty good. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of stuff. Man, I forgot to turn the camera on. But as you can tell, I've been using more of the ball peen side of the hammer and striking in the bowl strictly from on top. I've been drawing this out and getting it a little wider, as I'll put a little curvature here to bring the handle swooping downwards, and then it'll look nice and handsome, just like me. Yeah, it's starting to look like a silly little spoon, huh? Kind of fun. It's kind of funny looking at these two spoons side by side because they're quite different shapes. Just kind of how the bowl banged out. Hopefully my client likes the round bowl because that's the one I made for them. So here's the finished product. It's just a lot of hammering, a little bit of polishing right at the end. Pretty easy design. With all the work hardening, I doubt this is gonna do any deformation. It's very strong. It looks pretty good. It's got a little bit of texture, it's got a little bit of character, it's got a little bit of love. Polished it up, should be all good. Thank you for watching.